Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino that Pinguino Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. And once again, all ye mateys, I am asking you to put all hands on deck. We're playing.
The ship is going to sink.
We need you. We need you to play these cards with us so that the ship doesn't sink and we all live.
Someone on another Discord was like, oh, they're having a deck builder sale on Steam. What should I get? And I said, look at this podcast. And they said, no. And I said, okay, well, here are the 3 games I think are really good.
Here are the ones that we've ranked the highest
Yes.
until now. So if this is your first all hands on deck episode, first off, what are you doing? We've got 5 more before this one. And if you haven't listened to one of these, we rank roguelike deck building games on a very academic scale. It is myself and also that second voice you heard, Braden Arbitrary Water Redacted. How you doing?
Hello.
And the scale we use are 3 highly scientific criteria. Deck ability. What's deck ability? Braden, what's deck ability?
Oh, deck ability is how good the deck building is. How distinct of a deck can you build? How many different options do you have when creating a deck build? And how much control do you as the player have when forming a murder machine?
Yes. So a game that funnels you towards one true build will not have a high score for deck ability. Games with really creative deck building mechanics, those will get high scores. Rogue ability. Brayden, what's rogue ability?
Well, Gino, rogue ability is how good of a roguelite the video game is. How many different modifiers, things to unlock, new toys, and new horrible difficulty levels can you unlock throughout this game, and how much of your life can it destroy in the process?
Yes, how many times will you be willing to replay this game? Some of these games, either the loops are too long, or the loops are too short, or there's no compelling reason to play it more than once, or you're not unlocking anything, so every run feels the same. Those are all sorts of things that will factor into rogue ability. But Brayden, what's the heart mean?
Well, heart is, of course, the heart of the cards is its presentation, its moxie, its
Art, music.
music.
The stuff that would make you stick with it beyond the mechanics, generally speaking. And the heart of the cards, we rank this a little bit differently than deck ability and rogue ability, which are on a 1 to 5 scale. We instead use body organs. We use organs to rank heart of the cards, with a 5 being the heart of the cards, a 4 being the lungs of the cards, a 3 being the bones of the cards, the 2 being the gallbladder of the cards, and the 1 being the appendix of the cards. As you can see, as you work your way down, the organs become less essential to your survival. And we have come up with a status. If you are a 5 in deck ability, a 5 in rogue ability, and have the heart of the cards, you are a freakazoid game. You're very good, and we recommend playing them.
Yeah. There are certain games that, we recommend as for freaks. And that sometimes is irrespective of the actual quality of the game, but it's the games for people who are serious business.
Yes. Some of these games, even if they are very good, you would have to be deep into this well in order to fully appreciate them. You might bounce off of them otherwise. All right. Before we get into our 5 games that we're covering today, speaking of which, the 5 games we are covering today are Meteorfall, Crummets Tale, Starvaders, Dungeon Clawler, Chrono Arc, and Vampire Crawlers. Before we get into that, the normal plugs for the show. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show. deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com is the email address. deeplistens.libsyn.com. That's where you can download the show. You can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. At the $1 tier, you get access to our Discord. At the $3 tier, you get access to the OG Soncast, an anime show that Braden, you co-host.
Yep.
Pete and ZP. What show are you guys covering
still doing
Welcome to the NHK.
Welcome to the NHK. That episode will probably be out a little bit after this goes live.
Awesome. And you can also follow us on Blue Sky at deeplistenspodcast.bluesky.social. All right, so the first game we're going to cover today is Meteorfall Crummets Tale.
Yes.
Is this game in a series?
So it seems like, well, there is another one. There is a new Meteorfall game that came out last year. So yes, it is a series, I guess.
Okay.
The first one was a mobile game.
Okay. There's Meteorfall Rust Bowl Rumble. Okay, so this appears to be they're making a franchise.
Yes, it is Adventure Time adjacent.
Yeah, the aesthetics are Adventure Time in terms of how it, like, the drawing and the art.
And that's one of the big...
The tone, though, I think is more irreverent or adult-themed. Like, when you look at the map of this game, there's, like, a statue of a goblin pooping.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more juvenile than Adventure Time. But it looks like Adventure Time, for sure. In some ways.
Yes. There is a weird shopkeeper man named Krumit, and this is his tale.
Yeah, he's sending you away. You pick a character at the beginning of every run. That character will change what kinds of cards you get access to in the game. And unlike other deck builders we've played, this is not... It's not a true, like, you have a hand of cards deck builder. You are basically filling in is it a 3x3 grid or a 4x4?
It's a 3x3.
It's a 3x3 grid. Tiles fall from above into this grid. And that grid will be filled by a mix of enemies and the cards in your deck, basically.
Yes.
So you get, like, pieces of equipment. You can get magic spells. And every enemy tile needs to be defeated in combat one way or another, have their HP reduced to 0. And your other tiles can be used either to, you can pick them up, and then you'll get a spell or an item that will impact combat, or you can sell them for 2 health and money. And you need to spend money to buy some of these items. So there's a tension always between how am I going to defeat these enemies, how am I going to get enough items so that I can actually survive. You get rewarded for beating the level without getting every item, and that makes you able to buy better items. How did you find this game? How did you find the actual gameplay part?
This game is an order of operations game.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually reminds me a lot of there's another game that came out recently that technically isn't a deck builder, so it does not qualify, but it's called Sol Sesto.
Mm-hmm.
And that game is also very much about, all right, you are given all of your verbs right off the bat, and it is your job to determine the order that you execute them. So in order to pick up friendly cards, in order to pick up cards that aid you, you need money. You get money by defeating enemies.
Or by selling cards.
Or by yes, discarding / selling cards. And if you discard cards, you also get some healing. So it becomes a game about managing. It's very tight. It's about managing like your resources in this very small grid.
Yeah, and it is a random starting point for every bout. There will be a mix of enemies and also tiles that are
Yes.
friendly. Um, and each of the different characters you get have pretty different tool sets. So you start with a
Yes.
warrior who gets healed whenever you buy equipment. Um, armor specifically, I think just buying armor
Yes.
heals you
Whenever
too.
you buy armor.
There's a rogue that you get, and their whole thing is if you fight an enemy who's the only enemy in a row, you get stealth, so they don't attack. You get to
Yeah.
attack before the enemies attack, and you get a big damage bonus for your first attack. So it really incentivizes one-hit kills, kind of, or like one-turn kills. There's a mage who's very focused, as you would imagine, on spells.
Yes.
And spells can be used without entering combat because you're basically starting on this grid, and you can see the enemies, you can see the items. But when you fight an enemy, you basically click on the enemy tile, and you enter into turn-based combat. You go first most of the time, unless an enemy has a act first behavior associated with them. When that act first kind of happens, it can really mess you up. But your health goes down. You trade blows with the enemies.
Yes.
And you, as long as you survive by the end of the battle, you get healed to full at the end of every level. So getting into combat it can be pretty dicey. Enemies will hit you pretty hard. They'll poison you. They'll have negative status effects. They can bump up defense. But spells that are performed without entering combat, you just get to attack them.
Yes. And there are status conditions that a lot of spells give. That, for example, when you set an enemy on fire, they take damage when they drop down the column.
Oh, and when you kill when you remove something lower in the column, it will cause everything above it to fall down.
Yeah.
So that could be buying your own item. It could be, killing an enemy. Anything like that will cause things to fall.
It's got a lot of interesting moving parts, and it was an adjustment to figure out how the game wanted me to play.
Mm-hmm.
With the fighter character, he gets armor, and when you fully block an enemy attack, you parry it, and they lose their turn.
Mm-hmm. They get stunned for a turn.
Yes. So there's a lot of strategy to do with that. And I think on benefit of novelty alone, I think this game has a lot of interesting stuff going for it.
I agree. It has a lot going on that differentiates it from other deck builders. It plays very differently. One thing I will say against it is that I think that some of the characters are just much better than others.
Yes. There's some characters that are just they do one thing.
Yeah, so like you said, the warrior, you need to get armor because that's how you heal, and then you're taking advantage of that parry mechanic. The rogue, you really need to take advantage of the stealth attack. You don't deal great damage as the rogue,
Yeah,
unless
and your
you're doing
items
stealth
are
stuff.
limited use.
Yes, items are limited use, both offensive and defensive items. Your armor.
So there's also a lot of consideration around keeping items, especially when you're on boss levels, and need to have enough stuff stocked up to deal with the boss, because some bosses you want to deal with immediately because they get stronger as you get rid of other enemies or pick up items.
And others
it's
you need to
very
hold
cool.
off.
But it's also, I would say not all of the characters are made equal.
No, and you're only allowed 4 items at a time as well, which makes things a little bit tight. Like, there's a lot of inventory management kind of going on and sequencing, like you said. Some of the later characters, did you unlock all of them?
I got as far as unlocking the rogue.
Okay, so the last 2 characters you unlock are the cleric and the necromancer, and they are significantly better than the other jobs, in my opinion. The cleric's whole thing is she jumps back and forth between a kind of a priestess mode and a dark priestess mode. And when you're in the priestess mode, it's pretty normal. You get a lot of healing spells and stuff. But when you go to dark priestess mode, you curse enemies by hitting them. And when the enemy dies, you heal for how much curse they had. And if an enemy dies when they're cursed, I think it's just when they're cursed, they leave behind a curse on the board that will give you negative status effects in some way, basically. Like they'll make items more expensive to acquire, or they'll make enemies deal more damage to you, or it'll make you heal less. And then you have to pay health or money or like do an action to get the curse off the board. But then there are also spells and items that will turn curses into blessings. And blessings give you a bonus when you do combat next to them or take an action that they care about. And so you've just got a ton more sustainability and just options, right? Like you're killing enemies and they're healing you. You're getting these extra game pieces that you can manipulate. And
there are a lot of game pieces that are very focused around adjacency.
Mm-hmm.
Tile, like they get a lot out of a 3x3 grid.
They do, but like one thing that happened, one item, the cleric or priestess, I forget what the name is. One thing that character has is there's a grail that costs 40 life to activate. It's free to get and 40 life to activate, but its cost goes down for every cursed enemy that you kill by, I think, 3. And then if you activate that item, it deletes the whole deck. So anything that's not on the board kind of lives in a deck above the board. And that means that if a boss, say for example, was in the deck and hadn't shown up onto the grid yet, you could just delete the boss.
Yeah.
And every enemy in the deck and just deal with what's left on the board, which is disgusting. It's incredibly powerful. Nothing else, no other character can do that. There's just a lot of like sustainability in that build between curse and then how many just healing effects are baked into that character. It's way less precarious than the first 3 jobs. Same thing with the Necromancer. The Necromancer's whole thing is every time you kill an enemy, it leaves behind a tombstone, and then you can pay 2 life to turn the tombstone into a skeletal minion that fights for you. And the skeleton takes damage in your place and has its own strength. So it generally hits harder than you do. And if it dies, you can just replace it, right? Like you can get another one.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of abilities and equipment that manipulate those skeletons. They give them extra health, extra attack, let you sacrifice them. Like there's a bunch of play with the skeletons. But again, you're essentially, every time you get a win and you create one of these skeletons, it's like you're healing yourself 6, because I think they have 6 starting HP. You know, like that's just so much more powerful than what the other jobs do. I think there's just like a balance issue here. Like I enjoyed playing the thief and the wizard and the warrior, but they just. Do you remember when I did the 13 going on 30? Oh no!
Yes.
When I beat 15 different deck builders all at once, 14 different deck builders all at once, I just picked the cleric.
Yeah.
I played this game, and I was just like, okay, there's some that I can very easily win with, or like more easily win with, and some that will take me hours. I'm gonna stick with this one. So I think like getting to scoring, right? Deck ability, I think it's probably like a 4 or a 5.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff. Each of the different decks plays quite differently from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And while there are like generic cards that overlap, a lot of them are exclusive.
Yes. And a lot of mechanics are exclusive too.
Yeah.
So, do you feel better about a 4 or a 5? Like I did, there's some balance stuff going on, and I think that each of the jobs probably has like each of the characters has like maybe 1 or 2, or maybe 2 or 3 viable pathways.
Yeah.
But you're going to be forced to kind of hybridize. I don't think you can really min-max this game that hard.
Yeah. Let's go with a 4.
Okay, that feels right to me. It's not the most replayable.
Yeah. There are 6 different 8, because they added the ranger. That's
A DLC character that I did not
DLC
buy.
character.
I thought it was 6.
Okay, there's 6 with the
Yeah.
Ranger.
Yeah, there are 6 with the Ranger. Rogue ability, you're doing the same general levels over and over
Yeah.
again. There are so like the way that it works is you have like one of 2, I think, starting locations, and then you move to like another one of 2 different locations. So you'll fight the same bosses a lot, and you'll fight the same enemies a lot. But I think the way the tiles work keeps it pretty fresh.
Yes.
Here's where I would really ding it for the I want to ding it for the fact that I think some of the jobs kind of suck or some of the
Yeah.
characters don't work as well. I think this is a 3 or a 4 on rogue ability as a result.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give it the 4 just for novelty.
Yeah. Because there really isn't anything else like
From its tail.
like Crummets Tale. As I said, there are a couple games that remind me of it. But there's nothing quite like it in the deck building space. And then Heart, I think the game benefits a lot from its presentation.
Yeah, I think that your mileage will vary depending on how much you like the Adventure Time aesthetic.
Yeah.
If you
it
find
is,
it's
very-
divisive, I think.
yes.
Where do you come down?
I mean I like the weird little cartoon guys. The final boss is called the Uber Lich. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And the goblins wiggling their tongues and hooting is very funny.
And the entire time there's this weird shopkeeper holding a box and being like, "Oh, you made a good choice there."
Yeah, the whole game is taking place inside of a box one guy is holding.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. So do you think Heart of the Cards or Lungs?
Let's do Heart.
Heart of the Cards. I agree. I think the presentation does a lot for this game. All right, congratulations, Meteorfall Crummets Tale. Got a 4 in deck ability, a 4 in rogue ability, and a 5. You got the Heart of the Cards.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, Starvaders.
Yes. So this is the one I said, Gino, you need to play this. I think this game is super cool.
Yeah, so here's the elevator pitch. Tell me if you think this is right. What if Space Invaders was a roguelike deck builder?
Yeah. Basically.
You've got a little ship at the bottom of the screen. Invaders are coming from the top. You've got cards that represent the actions you take. So you can move, align your mech up. You can shoot. You've got 3 energy, as is customary in this genre. And you, at the end of a turn, the invaders will take actions. If they get to the bottom of the screen, you get Doom. Once you have 5 Doom, you lose. And that's game over. And then after every battle, you get to pick a new, like the next encounter you're going to take on. You can get more cards. You can get upgrades for those cards. Some of the encounters you can battle will lower your Doom if you got some, so that you can keep your run going. There's a shop that you eventually get to buy artifacts, like many of these games employ, that will kind of modify your character regardless of what cards you're playing. And then after 3 areas, as is also customary in this genre, you get a final boss.
And then if you do enough things, you'll get a real final boss.
Yep. So, what did you think of this game? How did you approach it? Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a game about controlling space. And it's about doing sick combos, because you get more score when you do combos. And there are 3 mechs in the game, and each mech has a couple different pilots that determine your starting cards and have a gimmick associated with them. And so the first mech you get is a shooty mech that its whole thing is heat management. So you can keep using cards that increase your heat, but they will cause self-damage.
Yeah, if you overheat, you will burn out the card that caused you to overheat, which means it is a dead card in
permanently
your deck for the rest of the
discarded.
Game. Or rest of the round, I should say.
Yes, and so there are characters who want to burnout cards, and then there's like an ice character whose whole thing is she can cool down your burnout.
And you can keep frozen cards in your hands so that you can
and
keep them.
frozen cards in your hands, which is very good.
Because normally you're discarding at the end of a turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that mech. There's a melee mech.
Yes, the sword Ronin mech, whose whole thing is dashing around. They can throw the cards in your hand and then pick them back up.
Yep.
And there are mechanics around that.
And they can also electrify enemies, and killing electrified enemies can give them more charge. They have batteries, so you can spend a little bit extra over the 3 energy you're getting a turn. And that will allow you to have kind of more bursty turns where you're taking even more actions. And did you unlock the third class of?
Yes, and then the third class is the pet
sorcerers.
class.
Magicians.
Yes.
Space wizards. They are a pet class. They're a puppeteer class.
Yes. And they're the weird one because you are summoning creatures onto the board, and then the actions are being done by your summons. Not your robot does not appear on the field.
Yeah, there is no robot. There are summons that you can puppet around, and you can have multiple. So with the other 2 mech types, if your mech gets hit, sometimes there are invaders that will shoot at you. If you get hit, you get junk added to your deck, and junk is a card that you have to play, otherwise it does something to mess you up, right? It's like a dead draw that usually there's an incentive to play it. Otherwise it will help the invaders in some way. With the third class, if you have multiple puppets out, only one of them counts as your character for all intents and purposes. So if that one gets hit, and you take junk damage, but if you leave a puppet somewhere and it gets hit and it wasn't haunted, I believe is the term they use.
Yes.
It wasn't haunted, you don't take damage. But this means that when you get movement cards, you can only move the haunted puppet. So if you have 3 on the field, only one of them is movable. You can spend a movement card to haunt a different puppet. But it means there's a great incentive to just be manipulating one and leaving the others wherever they are. You don't want to burn cards to just move stuff around. But they have another mechanic. Wizards. What is that?
Oh, they can sacrifice creatures.
Oh, they can cast spells.
Yes, that's right.
Like an entirely different currency, basically. They have energy like the other 2 classes do, but they also have these spells that run on a cooldown. After you fire them off, they will have some sort of cooldown that it's X number of turns usually before you can use them again. And that's just an extra resource you have when you're playing this class. And the spells vary pretty wildly in what they do. You unlock them like you do cards or artifacts. I found that to be the most broken thing in the game. I don't know about you.
They're definitely the most they're the most esoteric of the 3, and you have to kind of get your head around it.
Yeah, I think this game, because we played Cobalt Core before playing this game, I think that kind of helps. That's probably the most similar.
Yes.
To Starvaders, especially the first 2 robot types.
Yes.
Because in Cobalt Core, you're piloting a ship that is shooting at another ship. Starvaders, you're piloting a robot that's shooting up at these little invaders, but it's the same thing where you have to be using cards to manipulate your little dude all over the place so that you can actually attack properly. But the wizard class kind of breaks that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you can just drop units, into enemy territory for lack of a better term. And then there's sacrifice effects. Most broken. So, did you beat the final boss in this game?
Yes.
The true boss?
Yes. And the final boss, you have to do some fun stuff with jumping back and forth between the board that has been cut in half.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool, and it's a multi-phase fight. Except I got a spell with the puppeteer class that just did, I think, 10 hits to random invaders. That's all it did, and it had a 9-turn countdown. I was like, oh, okay, here's this big effect you do after 9 turns. And then I got an artifact that made it so I think every time one of my units died, I decreased the cooldown by 1.
Yeah.
So I just flooded the board and sacrificed things. And then I also had an artifact that made it so the cooldowns couldn't be higher than 3. So I just cast that thing like 4 times and won. Just without even my units doing much.
Yeah. It's a game of breaking.
Yes, very much so.
It is a game about finding a broken combination of cards and putting them to use. There's some cards with like the sword mech where if you pair them with the right artifact that gives you like, oh, you get extra battery on when you throw and pick up a card, and then you have cards that automatically are used when you pick them up, and so you can create this infinite death machine.
You can play fair in this game. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
Try to find ridiculous loops and stuff like that. That's what you really want to be doing here. Deck ability, I think this is a 5. Like, I think there's a lot of different mechs to play with. I think there's a lot of different...
each of the different pilots makes you play those mechs in different ways.
Yes. They're very different in what they want you to do. Sure. Rogue ability? It's a 4 or a 5. It's good.
There's a lot of stuff to unlock. I would say this is maybe not a forever game, but there are enough different characters that you have to do specific things. There are only like 4 difficulties.
Yeah, and they do like require you to beat the game with certain characters to unlock other ones. So there's at least an incentive to play the game like 10 times or something.
Yeah.
I think to unlock everything.
So
maybe 4.
4.
Heart. I want to say this is a 4. Feels right to me.
I like I think it has good music.
I think it has good music. I think it has good aesthetics. I think this is the lungs of the cards. Like this isn't a game that I'm going to shout at people like Cobalt Core or Balatro, like look at this thing. But it gets the job done for sure.
I like it.
Okay, it's got the lungs of the cards. Starvaders, 5 for deck ability, 4 for rogue ability, and it has the lungs of the cards. Okay, so the next game up is Dungeon Clawler. Raiden, what is this game?
Gino, this game is more and more prescient as time has gone on. It is about a little rabbit who has become a degenerate gambler and got his lucky paw cut off and replaced with a claw. And now you have to play claw machines in order to get your hand back.
Yep. He's fallen into terrible debt, and he's a loan shark comes and takes his repayment in the form of your lucky paw. And the way that this game plays is that you are playing a claw machine. You are moving a claw over to the side. The machine is full of your attacks and defends. So there are items in there. When you catch them, they drop into the machine and come out, and they let you do attacks or increase your block or impact the board in some way. And you're getting attacked by enemies every turn. And you have 2 claws by default. There are some items that let you get more claws or different kinds of claws.
Certain characters have different kinds of claws. Yep. So the second character you get has a magnet, which picks up all of the metallic items near it.
Yep. There's a octopus that you get, which so every one of the characters in this game is missing a limb that they are trying to get back, and an octopus with a claw arm, 1 of 8, is very funny. But the octopus has a claw and then a tentacle claw, which goes down and then sticks to things and picks stuff up. So each of the different characters have kind of a predisposition of what they want to do. Like the metallic one wants you to fill your machine with metal stuff, right? The one with the magnet wants you to put swords and daggers and metal shields. If there's the octopus really wants water to be in your machine, and water will cause some items to float, some items to sink. And then you can have bath bombs that will make your there's fluff in these machines.
Yes,
Fluff does nothing usually,
but
but
if you fill up your claw machine with a liquid and then turn it into a different liquid with the bath bombs, if you turn your tank into hot chocolate, all of those fluff heal you.
they become marshmallows.
They become marshmallows. Or if you turn it into lava, all of the fluff burns the enemy, and burn is a dot. Just like poison, the difference is that burn usually tends to be a bigger number, but it only lasts for one turn.
Yeah. You can make it ice water, and that causes frost, which decreases the enemy's attack numbers. So there's a lot of stuff going on, right? Like there's characters that care about fluff. There's you can get thorns, and thorns will deal damage every time you get
there are
hit.
there are characters who have like summons.
And have stuff that interacts with the companions and makes them do things. You've got poison characters.
You've got the vampire character who cannot gain block.
Yep, and they just heal.
He just heals when he attacks, so you just fill your entire claw machine with attacks.
Yep. There's a character who gets rewarded the longer you can string along without getting hit, and they focus on dodging. There's items that let you dodge instead of block. Yeah, there's a surprising variety to this game. There's a lot of characters in it. I didn't see how many there are. I haven't unlocked them all. It's more than 10.
There are like 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I the thing that surprised me about this game was just seeing how far and how much they were able to get out of the simple act of using a claw machine, and the claw machine physics feel very true to life in that they're very janky.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get a lot of stuff in one grab.
You're not going to get what you want a decent number of the time. Like, you might be able to get one item that you actually want, but the idea of getting 5 or 6 things that you want in one pull happens pretty infrequently. And there's definitely there's the true to life claw machine moments of like, you've got the item you want, it goes to drop it, and it lands on the side. It doesn't go down the chute. Instead, it like lands just wrong, and you don't get the item you want. Or sometimes like the claw will swing and throw an item that it otherwise had grabbed, and it'll throw it the far end of the machine.
You can swing the claw machine around by moving it back and forth quickly. Mm-hmm. And you can do that to grab things at weird angles.
Mm-hmm.
So it does a lot with what I thought was going to be a pretty, like, you know, I did not love Peglin that much. Mm-hmm. I felt like Peglin felt a little bit limited with its Peggle conceit, but I think Dungeon Crawler is the opposite.
Yep.
Where they get far more out of what you'd think would be a gimmick than I was expecting.
There's depth here, and it didn't need to have it, I don't think. But it does. It is a like deck ability. I would give this a 4 or a 5. Rogue ability the same. Like these runs are short. They're well paced. There isn't a ton of mechanical depth necessarily. I shouldn't say there is mechanical depth. You know what you want to do, and once you figure out what you want to do, you min-max it, right? Like,
and you want to fill up your machine with whatever the thing is that you've chosen. And one of the things you can run into in the dungeon is you can run into a place that lets you get tokens that increase the chances of you getting items that are connected to a certain concept, like oh, here you're more likely to get crit items, or you're more likely to get water, or you're more likely to get defense. And so I think that's really good because it lets you tune your build in advance.
It lets you really lean in.
Or if you refuse to take tokens, you just get a higher chance of getting rare items.
Yeah. And you can lean in and min max one sort of build. You can get more rare items and kind of be more eclectic.
Yeah.
A lot of weird
there are a lot
combos
of
that way.
weird item interactions, and there's you can go to an alchemist and transmute items to different materials which have different behaviors. So for example, metal objects will sink in liquid, but obviously they get picked up by magnets. Whereas wooden objects float.
Yeah, and there are times like plastic items. There's some characters that care about plastic items because they care about recycling.
Yes.
So you've got some other ways where properties matter. Like if you have a battery in water, it will electrify your metal items near it.
Yes.
They do a good job of having some crossover between these item categories so that you might want to dabble in 2 or 3 things instead of just truly min-maxing.
Yes.
So I think that like deck ability for me is like a 4 or a 5.
Yes.
It's fun to build these decks. The actual deck building part, where do you lean, 4 or 5?
5.
Yeah, me too.
I think this game is surprisingly involved with the act of filling up a claw machine with items.
And the rogue ability, this is one of the more fun games to play.
Yes.
Like there's a dexterity element to this.
They, as I said, they have perfectly nailed the tactile nature of claw machines and the ways in which like the grip is kind of shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you grab something at a weird angle, it might just fall out.
Yeah, I would give this a 5.
Yes,
a rogue ability
5.
too. Like it's fun to do these runs. They don't last that long. The builds are fun to execute.
Yeah, like a run is going to be 30 minutes.
30 minutes or so. Like it's a good game for that. Heart, I'm going to say at least the lungs of the cards. Like I love the intro. One thing I will say for it,
claymation intro.
Yes, the claymation intro and the claymation outro are so high quality, and then the rest of the game is not matching it.
No. The rest of the game, it's let's say cartoony Flash adjacent. I do also like the hidden secret boss in the game.
Which who?
So one of the places you go in the dungeon is when you want to get healed is you go visit your grandma.
Oh yes.
And you can, do a claw machine and get some money, get some healing. But you can also steal your grandma's items. You can steal her ID and her teeth and
her purse.
And those are debuffs. But if you do all 3 of those, before the final boss, you can fight your grandma. Because she is actually the queen of the gambling den.
Okay, that's amazing. I didn't do that. I didn't realize that those were the items I needed to unlock that door at the end.
Yes. So you need to steal your grandma's stuff and then, fight her to unlock her as a character. And she has a golden cane that has spikes that extend as one of her claws.
Incredible. So, man, harder lungs then. It kind of looks like Alien Hominid when it is not claymation. And I don't know, like the music's not incredible.
Yeah, there's not enough music.
I don't like that you have to there's gambling sections in the game.
Yes.
Where it's actual gambling, like you have to pull on a slot machine over and over again.
Pachinko.
Yeah, or pachinko, or they give you a weird hook, and then you have to use that hook to grab something. I would lean lungs.
Yeah, lungs. Yeah, let's do lungs. Let's do a 4.
Okay. Congratulations,
All right.
on Clawler.
Yes.
5 for deck ability, 5 for rogue ability, 4. So a lungs of the cards. Next up, we have Chrono Arc coming out of
Chrono Arc.
Korea.
This is another Korean game, but and I think Chaos Zero Nightmare is actually a pretty fair direct comparison.
Yes.
But the difference is that Chrono Arc is a game that is not a gacha. It's just a game that you pay like $20 for, and it does not require you to pull for new characters and items.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, that's pretty great. You know, not quite as much bouncing though. If you like obvious live 2D women who kind of just
Undulate.
bounce around in their idle animations, not as much of that in Chrono Arc.
No, though it does have scantily clad.
Yes, it does have
characters.
scantily clad anime adjacent ladies. So this game, yeah, this game definitely has a lot of the trappings of a gacha game, but it's not a gacha game, so it's better.
Yes. So
And
it's
it has-
instantly better.
It has a surprisingly involved light novel-ish story between runs.
Yeah. The world has ended and you're trapped in
Time
what
loop.
appears to be a video game reality, and you're trying to escape it by winning your runs, basically. And the more runs you win, the more of the story unfurls until you figure out, okay, where are we? What's going on
Yeah.
here? Because it's first presented as a straightforward thing, but the
Yeah,
further
we need to go to the clock tower and activate the clock tower, whatever. Yeah, so there's a surprisingly involved story here.
Mhm.
And there are like 20 characters, and each of them has a different gimmick, and as far as I can tell, like completely different cards.
Yeah, there are some
Um,
generic cards
yeah.
that you can deploy, but not
There's
many.
some generic cards, but for the most part, characters are pretty exclusive.
Yeah,
And
I
I
would-
think the closest comparison I would make, other than Chaos Zero Nightmare, because I think Chaos Zero Nightmare is probably the obvious one, is Rogue Book. Because Rogue Book, you have, you know, 2 characters, and you are mixing and matching their cards and their actions, but they have their own health and stats. And in the same way, Chrono Arc, it's kind of JRPG-ish combat, but, you know, with cards.
Mhm.
You can do interrupts. There are the enemies have actions that will count down, so you can't just chain a bunch of cards together. And the way you explore on the overworld is like Rogue Book or Tainted Grail, where you are picking and choosing what encounters you want to go in, but you only need to fight the boss.
Mhm. Yeah, and there are like these random locations you can get, and there's secrets hidden in the map too. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Like you get scrolls that can reveal secrets, and so
There are
if
a
you
lot of
figure out,
items
yeah,
and modifiers.
yep, and that is one thing that it calls attention to something kind of unfortunate about the game. The translation is not amazing.
Oh, it is definitely a scuffed translation.
So there are definitely times where I felt like I didn't know what a card would 100% do
Yes.
because of the translation, or I wasn't sure what an item would do if I used it.
Yes.
Um,
It definitely feels like you have to try a lot of things to fully understand how they work.
Yeah, and there are a lot of different characters, and they have a wide variety of play styles, but there aren't infinite characters that are good together.
No.
There are a
No,
lot of
it's
characters
yeah.
that really want to be paired with one or two other characters, and you start every run with two, and you end every run with four characters. So you get to draft two more over the course of your run, which really changes the way the game plays. You know, like you
Yeah.
got two to build off of. You're building them out with items and equipments, and then you add a third character, and you level up your characters as you go. Like the more enemies you
Yes.
beat, the more soul stones you get, which lets you upgrade your characters,
Upgrade your max mana, upgrade how many cards you draw.
Yeah, your character is
Yes.
like you are playing this little girl who's kind of like the leader,
Yes.
and you can spend soul stones to unlock cards for her, and her cards tend to draw a bunch of cards or
Yes, they
rig your
tend to
hand in some
be
way.
yeah, Lucy, all of her cards, either you draw more cards or they give you more energy, stuff like that. Um, they have both a casino and a beach episode themes DLCs that
Yep.
add more cards and items and of course outfits.
Yeah, and also we're saying every one of these characters has a passive ability
Yes.
that doesn't unlock until they hit level 2.
Yeah.
And when they hit level 2, those passives could be pretty significant. Like there's a dude who one of his passives is whenever you kill an enemy with a card, he then casts that card again at half damage to a random enemy. So you can imagine this can just chain.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's Edgelord Darkman.
Yeah, Edgelord Darkman. There's a shield guy who every time you overheal, it gives people shields. So he's really good with the healer classes.
Yes.
There's like characters who can chain energy.
Characters who, there's the Dark Priest character who has like self-damage and curse skills, but also has a bunch of healing utility.
Yeah, or spells that heal you but hurt enemies, so you can use them either way. The characters are deep. Like, they've got a lot of play to them, I will say. Unfortunately, because of the scuffed translation, it means that sometimes you don't fully appreciate what's going on.
Yeah. You can give them gifts and get tokens of friendship and have little social link interactions with them.
Yeah, and did you see what happens when you max those out?
What happens when you max them out, Gino?
When you max them out, when one of those characters joins your party mid-run, normally you get like 3 cards for them to come in with so that they don't start with nothing. You get to instead pick from 5. Ooh. And each character only has like 6 or 7 different unique cards for them. So it gives you a really good chance of rigging your deck so that it's good.
Yes. And the first time I played, I got to the clock tower on my first run, and the game said no. No.
Same.
You weren't supposed to get here.
Same thing happened to me. And then there's like relics that you can use that are kind of your artifacts, but you have to equip them, which is different.
Yes.
You're only allowed to have, I think, 3 to start or 4.
4.
And then you have to actually find them, and then you can't equip them until you get to the end of the level.
Yeah.
So you don't get to just stack those up infinitely. But yeah, I think this is a good, like, deck ability here a lot. I think it's a 5.
Yes, I think it's a 5.
Like, there's a lot of characters. They have a lot of interplay. The cards themselves are interesting. The mechanics of each character, I think, is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Rogue ability. Here's
the
where I
runs in
want
this
to
game take an hour.
At least an hour. I feel like that's
which is
on it.
Yes, which is where the other comparison to Rogue Book comes in.
Yes.
Is the runs are a little bit too long.
For sure.
There's a lot to unlock. Like, once again, 20 characters or so to unlock, and then a bunch of passive items.
And they're all like, the characters are super involved. There's a puppet character. There's a character who does damage, who has a whip, and she deals damage to your characters, but then after a turn she heals them.
Yeah.
She's a S&M mommy sort of character. There's a character whose whole thing is she like takes temporary damage and then after 2 turns that if you don't find a way to spend that, it becomes real damage. Like,
They're one of your tanks who draws aggro is a lady with a flaming chainsaw named Miss Chain.
yeah, and
And
she
yeah,
she
she can rev up her
counterattacks.
chainsaw to draw aggro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a dude whose whole thing. Oh, also a unique mechanic of this game is that you can set one of your cards to just be permanently available
Yes.
for your character at the expense of it costing one more than normal when you play it that way. So it's a game.
And there are
This is a
certain
game.
cards that are built around that.
There's some characters that are built around that. There's some cards that are built around that. And this game has a pretty. You get to keep your hand at the end of the turn,
Yes.
but you draw relatively few cards compared to other games. So the game encourages you to be cycling cards out. You have one discard and redraw a turn by default. And then you also have these extra cards that are just always equipped to your characters. So you're rarely doing actual nothing, but you can really run out of steam in this game if you don't do a good job of setting the right abilities and sequencing your cards right. So I would give this like a 4 on rogue ability, just because the runs are too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
And then on heart, I mean, it's got a whole story. It's got
a whole story. The art is good.
Mm-hmm. Translation is not,
Translation is scuffed.
but it's not unreadable.
It's not unreadable. It's just like, oh, this is not a native English speaker.
No. I don't know how much I want to ding it for the translation stuff.
I don't think it's machine translated so much as it is just clearly not translated by a native English speaker.
Yeah. I don't know how much they paid on that, budgeted for that part of it. It plays well. It looks good.
In the Steam Workshop, there's a mod that gives it an English dub.
That's funny. It's pretty good.
So, do you want to hear people talking and yelling those skills out?
Shouts, the battle shouts?
Yeah, doing the battle shouts?
Maybe. I vacillate here between the lungs and the heart of the cards.
I
kind of want to put
I
it
just
lower.
appreciate that this game isn't a fucking gotcha.
Yes, this game is getting a lot of mileage out of not being Chaos Zero Nightmare.
Which, yeah, Chaos Zero Nightmare. Hey, guess what? There's that lady. There's that lady who's tied up in like a bondage, and that's cool if you're into that. But you know what this game has? This game is a product that gives you everything in it when you pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it was in early access for like 5 years.
It's pretty good. It's still one of like this is basically a Slay the Spire, right? Like it's not doing anything
like
too different than Slay the Spire.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like. I think heart-wise, the story goes a long way, and it's trying to tell a real story, and it's a story that you get over multiple runs, and it's pretty involved. It's pretty interesting. I give this a pretty big amount of credit for that. The aesthetics themselves, it's very anime, but it doesn't.
It's very Korean anime specifically.
Yes. It's very Korean anime, and I don't think any of it jumps out in a positive or negative way.
Well, there is the priestess lady who uses a baseball bat.
She's great. Look, there's individual things in this that I love.
But otherwise, yes, this game's aesthetic is Korean gacha.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
Positive.
Yes.
So yeah, let's say 4.
Yeah, I think the lungs of the cards, just because we've played other games on this list that kind of look like this.
Yeah.
And I think that unlike a game like Crummets Tales, where there's nothing else that really looks like it in this space, I think that Chrono Arc, it's kind of getting to be a more saturated aesthetic. Unfortunately, even though I think Chrono Arc kind of predates Chaos Zero Nightmare. It predates some of these other games.
Yes, because it came out in 2019 in early access.
It's a shame that other games have also kind of filled the same aesthetic space. But
it's also it's also because the game came out in 2019. It's like, well, at least I know the art is an AI.
That's true. That's also true.
That's like the weird fucked undercurrent. Yeah, let's do a 4.
Okay. So
And now let's talk
Chrono Arc.
about
5 for deck ability, 4 for rogue ability, and you have the lungs of the cards. Now vampire crawlers.
I would label Chrono Arc
A Freakazoid
Chrono
game.
Arc is definitely a game for people who like these sorts of games, but you need to also want to care about the story.
Yeah, it is a Freakazoid game.
It's a Freakazoid game. Because
It,
there's a lot of cool synergies.
and a lot of reading. Like
Yes, and a lot of reading. So yeah, let's give it the asterisk.
Yep, give it the little Freakazoid asterisk. Let's do it. It's a good game. Nothing wrong with it. It's just that there's a lot of reading. There's a lot of status effects.
It is not a game about finding broken combinations. It's a game about good, honest synergies.
Yes. And knowing that, like, oh, this card type triggers this debuff
Oh, this
category.
This boss's attack pattern is like this. But now we can talk about the game that I'm going to say the vast majority is going to be played by far more people than the other games.
The game that is probably the most popular of any of the ones we've discussed today, Vampire Crawlers, the spiritual successor, unofficial sequel to Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, the sequel, the spin-off
of Vampire Survivors, and it takes the aesthetic of that game and the game juice of that game,
yes,
and many of the characters of that game, and turns it into a deck builder.
Yes, turns it into a deck builder that looks like a first-person dungeon crawler.
Yep.
There we go. Yep.
That's
so,
it.
Gino, what if you combined the brain off, flashing lights and colors, I want everything to explode aspect of Vampire Survivors, and then put cards into it?
So the way that they do that, I think, is kind of interesting. Basically, you've got the mana system that many of these games have. And cards can cost from 0 all the way up to, I've seen 5 for a card. And what the game asks you to do is chain them. So you want to go a 0 cost into a 1 cost. And every time you have a combo like that, it buffs up the card that is played next, right? Like, so the higher you combo, the more effective the top end cards of your combo will be. If you go 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, that'll be way more powerful than if you just go 3, like play your 3 cost card straight up. So it really encourages you to have a mana curve. If you've heard that term from Magic the Gathering, you want to have a bunch of 0s that can chain into a bunch of 1s, and then you probably want it to top out at a 5. And this game, as with Vampire Survivors, you are spiraling upwards in terms of your mana availability, right? So like you are getting more and more and more ways to make mana, and there's a bunch of ways to break this game as well. Like I said that cards range in value from 0 to like 5. They can also go negative, and those give you mana when you play them. There are gems that you can affix to cards, and those gems will change their properties in some way. Some of them make it so that they always combo. Some of them make it so they give you their mana back when you play them. Some double or triple their damage. You're getting a ton of modifiers that you can use on these things. And then it's the Vampire Survivors item system. So, you know, if you remember some of the combos from Vampire Survivors, you eventually get the ability to fuse cards together to make the upgraded items from Vampire Survivors. So like daggers plus gauntlet is a combo, and that'll get you the 1,000 daggers item. So Braden, what did you think of playing Vampire Crawlers?
So I do not think that the art of deliberately constructing a deck and I am going to make the numbers go crazy and make everything explode in front of me part of Vampire Survivors mesh very well together.
Yeah,
let's be clear. You can break Vampire Crawlers immediately and violently.
Oh yes. How did you do it?
there are characters who get mana for playing certain color cards, and there are characters who get draw for playing certain color cards.
Put those in the same deck and then have the triggers for them. Like you can,
Yeah.
there's a gem that makes it so that a card triggers all triggers.
Yeah,
Because they trigger off of different colors. Attacks are red. Some armor is blue. Upgrades are yellow, and then things that give you mana are purple. But then there's
Yeah.
gems that make it so that your card is every color, and then
Yeah.
that will trigger
you
all
can
of.
make certain cards wild cards. You can, there's a chain combo aspect where the more cards you chain together in increasing mana costs multiplies damage or stat boosts. It's very easy to break.
So the crawlers, I didn't mention it, but like the crawlers themselves are characters that they're cards in your deck, but when you play them, they basically kind of like hover outside of your deck and then will trigger. And some of them will like add damage to your cards. Some of them will make you draw. Some of them will increase your experience gain or your money gain, so that you're, getting these bigger buffs. And then depending on which crawlers you get and how many you have, you can, like you said, Brayden, you can like get these combos, right? Where you're triggering multiple at once. You can get some cards that will make them stick around longer.
If
and that
you
will
remember how the item combinations work in Vampire Survivors, they still work in Vampire Crawlers.
I had a combo where I had a gem that made it so when you played a card, it comes back to your hand. And then I had a gem that made it so that whenever you played a card, it would go fetch another version of that same card in your. Oh no, it was a card that I think just like increased the damage, and one that made it so that if you play a card, it will go fetch another copy of the same card in your deck. And then I cloned it. So I had two of them, and every time I played one of them, it would fetch the other, and I had an infinite loop.
Yeah. And the game is to some extent built around this.
There's an infinite loop protection, I will say. That the
Yes.
cards, if you play them too many times in an infinite loop, they will break and shatter, and you can't play them anymore.
Yes. And there are bosses where if you keep looping cards, they will keep filling up your deck with garbage.
And they will attack you out of turn
Yes.
instead of waiting to the end of your turn. So, like, there are certain protections for you playing too many cards. But
Yes.
I don't know about you. I found that the protections did not actually stop me. Like,
No.
as long as you have defend yourself in that loop somewhere, some sort of defense,
Yeah, as long as you have some armor.
you can just loop through that shit. And I mean, the game is fun in that brain offy
Yeah.
Vampire Survivors sort of way, but there aren't that many cards. Actually,
No.
because there aren't that many items in Vampire Survivors, and the ones that have combos have the same combos as Vampire Survivors.
Yes.
So you're not really. I didn't find that I thought I was really exploring that much, right? Like there weren't that many mechanics to get your mind in. It's just
No.
raise your multipliers as high as you possibly can and chain your way up the combo chain, and then everything melts in front of you.
And yeah, and like Vampire Survivors, by the end, when you get enough passive upgrades, it's just you just win.
Your ball of rolling death. It
Yes.
And I think that the crux of it, the problem I have with this game is that Vampire Survivors was a great brain off, listen to a podcast and watch some flashing lights or something. Like you didn't have to actually focus on it that much. You could focus as much as you want, but it didn't require you to give it absolute attention. There's just enough play to Vampire Crawlers that I think you do.
Yeah.
And it's not deep enough for that.
No.
It's
And,
really
and
not.
you can unlock a bunch of characters, and there's a lot of overlap.
Mm-hmm. And the characters don't like they change the way you play, but it's not so significant because
No.
again, there are only so many cards that are in the game, period. So you're generally building the same deck over and over again, even if you are predisposing towards upgrades of one type or another. Like you have Arcana, like you do in Vampire Survivors. There's an Arcana that's like if you play a bunch of cards, a certain number of cards, you just get extra mana like permanently as an upgrade. I just did that every time, and then just played the same cards over and over and over again, and my character scaled up as they needed to, and I was able to win most of my my battles that way, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So deck ability, I want to say this is like a 2
Yeah.
or a 1. Like it's
No, it's you just use the same broken combinations over and over again.
yeah. So like this might be one of the lowest for deck ability. I'm willing to give it a 1.
I'm willing to give it a 1.
Like
I'm willing to. Fine. No one who was excited about Vampire Crawlers is actually listening to this podcast.
it's not that it's bad. I should say it's just
No.
like there's no.
It's just like, why? Why did you make it? Why did you decide that these two things should be together?
Yeah, it's just that you figure it out very fast, and then you keep doing it over and over again. You know, and the flashing lights are cool, but it's not because of the deck building, really, that much. Like, you make the same choices, similar to Vampire Survivors, right? Like once you've got the fire wand, you're gonna want the spinach because they combine.
Yeah.
You know, and so you just are shunting down these different pathways that you know what they are from the start of your run.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to want to combine, and you're just basically hitting reroll until you get the items that do the combinations.
Yeah.
Rogue ability, I'm willing to give it a better score. Like there's a lot to unlock here. There is stuff that you are fundamentally changing when you unlock more gems or more characters. I think that there's more rogue elements here than deck building.
Yes.
So
Yes.
parts where it's more like Vampire Survivors and there's a ton of unlocks. Again,
That's the good stuff.
like, what do you think? 4, 3?
4. There's a lot of stuff to unlock. There's a lot of new toys
Locations
that let you break the game in fun and different ways.
And then Heart. I mean, it's still a 5, right? It's still the heart of
Yeah.
the cards. It looks great.
It's still Vampire Survivors. The ways in which they have translated that game's look to a like first person looking dungeon crawler are fun.
The dungeon crawler parts are fun. Like moving around in that world is fun. The town that you start in is fun.
The characters have these little lo-fi voice clips that they play that are very good.
It still has the slot machine sound effects and treatments on every time you level up or get an upgrade, and that's always good every time it happens. Yeah, I think this is our first 1 on deck ability, but then 4 on rogue ability, and it has the heart of the cards. It's got that juice.
Yes.
Congratulations, Vampire Crawlers. You're a show pony. You just don't ask you to run. Okay, so final summation here. Meteorfall Crummets Tail, that's a 4 on deck ability, 4 on rogue ability. It's got the heart of the cards. Starvaders, that's a 5 on deck ability, 4 on rogue ability, and it has the lungs of the cards. Dungeon Clawler, that's a 5 on deck ability, 5 on rogue ability, and it's got the lungs of the cards. Chrono Arc, 5 on deck ability, 4 on rogue ability, and it has the lungs of the cards. And Vampire Crawlers, 1 on deck ability, 4 on rogue ability, and it has the heart of the cards. We had a good batch. None of these were bad games.
Yeah.
Which is not always the case.
No. Don't worry, we'll find some more.
We'll find some trash. Don't you worry. This one we unloaded some good ones because we wanted to play some good ones, but we'll steer you away from some games. Well,
we'll find some more, don't worry.
Hey, if you wanted some games, next time there's a Steam deck builder sale, you could do worse than just buying every game we talked about today.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Braden.
Thank you, Gino.
Thank you, dear listeners. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show, deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. That's our email address. deeplistens.libsyn.com. That's where you can find the show. You can also find us on Blue Sky at deeplistenspodcast.bluesky.social, and you can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. Till next time, peace.
Peace.